No, it's Zoom because it's like the.
Hi. Sorry, just wanted to say good afternoon and welcome to today's poster presenter orientation. My name is Courtney Sproat and I am the program manager at AONL. I am joined by my colleagues Tony Latino and Amy Trueblood. We are members of the education team and are pleased to be with you here today. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Amy to get us started.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Amy Trueblood, and thanks, Courtney. I am the Senior Director of Leadership Development at AONL. And so this is a relatively new role for me. This is my first conference in this capacity, and I'm excited to be here with all of you and to be partnering with Courtney and Tony for this, as well as the conference overall. So thank you for taking the time to be here. I first want to just say congratulations to each of you on being accepted to present your posters at the 2025 AONL conference, which will be in Boston, March 30th to April 2nd. Hopefully that is not news to you, but just thought I would share. We had, just for your knowledge, we had over nearly 1,000 abstracts submitted this year. That's all in for all types of presentation, including our poster presentations. And our poster presentations are one of the highlights of the conference for our attendees every year. And I know that you may not have realized that maybe as an attendee yourself, you've really been impacted by our poster sessions, and we're very proud of the caliber of work that is demonstrated and the caliber of speakers that we have doing their poster presentations at the conference every year. So we accept, just for context, we accept around 50 posters and around 50 podium presentations. So that's just 10% of those that were submitted for abstract. And so again, you need to be, I want you to hear how proud we are of you, how grateful we are to you, and how proud you and your teams should be. And that's information that you can definitely share with them, and as you share your excitement for being a part of the poster sessions at AONL this year. I'm just going to go through just a few things around content and how you, some suggestions we have for our poster presentations. And then Courtney will wrap up the meeting by going through the logistics of that. And I know we have some people who are experienced poster presenters and some who are novice. And so we welcome all of you and welcome your feedback as well, should you have any throughout this time together today. Poster presentations, as I mentioned, are a very, very important part of scientific research dissemination and something that we really look forward to each year. One of the things just I want you to think about, it's pretty quick to have in your mind as you think about the flow of a presentation. You want to be thinking about what it looks like. How are you, what's your hook? How are you bringing people in the interest? As you know, people may just be walking by, and we want your poster to grab their attention in some sort of way. And there are freedoms that you have within that as to how you wish to do that. Also, to remember that you are teaching, and you are the expert in this work, and people will be coming to you and coming to your poster because they want to learn about not only what you accomplished, but how they may do something similar within their own role or sphere of influence. And you want to be thinking about how you are reaching people. So you think about your title, the titles, and the content and the visuals and whatnot. And how are you reaching the audience? And so I do encourage you to be familiar, if you're not familiar, with the audience, the diverse audience that will be present as attendees at the conference overall. And we can answer any questions about that as we go forward today. But this is not just one setting represented. We have a multitude of nurses in a variety of positions and in a variety of settings across the country who attend this event. And we're looking forward to even more of them this year. And so you might encounter somebody who's a nurse business owner, somebody who's in their first supervisor position, a house supervisor, an executive, somebody who works in academia, somebody who is in association work like we are. Those you will have a variety of groups that are coming by. And so as you're preparing your posters, you want to think about how do you look at what you accomplished and what the work is that you want to share, and share that proudly with confidence in your expertise, but also how would you, if you're in an inpatient setting, for example, and somebody comes up to you that is from a different setting, an outpatient or ambulatory care or academia, what is your pitch to them, and how do you make that work relevant to their work and engage them in a dialogue so you understand that? Because our attendees do appreciate, when we talk about attendee control, they do appreciate conversation and dialogue with them, and some interpersonal discussions. And you have a lot of people walking through at the same time that you need to figure out how to kind of manage. And so there are a variety of ways to do that. And so you have to find that balance as you're practicing your pitch. I do encourage you to practice. We'll talk a little more about that. But as you're practicing, there may be a multitude of things you want to make sure that you cover. Have yourself understand your goals in the presentation, and understand how you might engage a group of an audience that may or may not be directly related to your content. So it's a fine balance in doing the poster presentation of having discussion and also not missing somebody who may also want to learn that's walking by. So you've got to constantly have your eyes going and be attuned to what and who is around you, so that you can ensure the most people benefit from your work. Also, what is popular in posters is that there's some level of consistency. So you want to make sure when you're looking at more of the details of the logistics of the poster, that you're using consistent language, that you're using consistent font, that you're using consistency in how you're spacing things, that there's enough white space so people aren't overwhelmed. One of the biggest downfalls with posters is people try to cram everything on there that you need to. Remember that you're going to be talking with people. So you want enough information that it can stand alone and people can understand the point, should they walk by at a time that you are not physically present at the poster. And also enough that when you are engaging, it's enough for them to kind of want more dialogue, to want more follow-up. And we're going to give you some tips as to how to provide some of that information without taking up a bunch of space on your poster. And in terms of our guidelines, posters, images, people obviously people engage very well with and they get drawn in when there's there are pictures and images and things such as that. You need to be cautious about copyright. We're going to talk in more detail about that. But also in terms of the poster at the AONL presentation, you want to be sure that there are not any indications of any commercial interest, and that you have addressed, and we will address this with you prior to the conference, any relevant financial information that might need to be disclosed. In other words, you want to be cautious of specific logos of companies. This is not a time to it's not a commercial for a specific product or a specific company. This is your opportunity to share your research, your outcomes, your processes, and the work that you've done with your teams. And so we want to make sure that we're clear of any of those types of barriers to learning for the audience. Next slide, Courtney. So a little bit more about copyright. Sometimes there is an impression, and I had it until I took a class on this very content as well. There's an impression that if you can get a photo or a video off of the internet, that it must be free to use. It must be copyright free. That is absolutely a myth. It is not true. If you're looking at just pulling a photo or anything off of the internet, you need to check and make sure that you have appropriate permissions to use that, and then somehow would need to articulate that you had received permissions on the poster. What we like to advise is that you share either personal pictures, graphs, and things that you might have made, or we do recommend using Creative Commons, and that web address is there for you. Creative Commons does have images that are free for use, copyright free, and so you don't need to seek any further permission if you find the images off of Creative Commons. So that could be a resource that you're not familiar with previously. So make sure that you're taking a look at that, because people do pay attention, and these posters, as they're displayed, people take photos of them, or we have other things. And so that information does get out there, and we want to make sure that we are respecting those copyright laws and rights of those creators of content. And just remember, you are the expert in this content. You know, a genuine, transparent, authentic presentation is one that will always draw people in. You know this work. Certainly by the time you're presenting, you will know it very, very well. So make sure that you're practicing so that you can be to that point and not be so worried about needing to engage with your poster, but being able to engage with the attendees who want to learn from you. That'll really open the door for great learning on all sides for you and for a successful poster presentation. So I'm going to turn this over to Courtney to go over more of the logistics and the process for getting things ready for you, and what the time looks like between now and conference.
Great, thanks, Amy. Poster presentations should be the horizontal landscape orientation. We listed on the slide here some recommended size based on the display boards. You could see in the photo that there are people that have done it different ways. Some take up the whole board, some take up some of it. And so the dimensions we put on here are just recommendations where it will fit nice in the middle, still large enough. But if you already have yours produced, or you use someone and you have your own dimensions, just know that it shouldn't be bigger than the display board size of 48 by 96 inches. AONL, at where the posters are located, you will have push pins to hang up your poster. You're responsible for shipping it to the conference site. And if you would need any tips on how to do that, if you're not comfortable carrying it on the plane, or shipping it, or checking your luggage, we can give you the address to our best recommendation actually is to send it to yourself at the hotel that you're staying at. And I can help you if you need how to address the label in that instance. But most people, I believe, carry it on so that it's on their person. There is Wi-Fi in the building, so you will have access to browsing Wi-Fi. You can bring a laptop as an additional resource for you or for your session, but you'll notice that there isn't much space for just things to be displayed on the tables. That's a mock-up from a couple of years ago, that photo, but I wanted to show you that the posters are over a table, so you don't have a lot of place to put things. And there's also no power outlets and things like that right in that poster area. So keep that in mind for your presentation. We don't have equipment security in that area. It is in the exhibit hall, which I'll go to in a second. So you'll see it's a typical setup from our previous conferences. And if you're new to AONL and new to presenting, you know, the past feedback has been positive in that. We want to make sure that there's good lighting, that you have good space between each other, and the attendees for good flow. As far as fonts go, we do provide some recommendations just based on things that we have seen from other poster presenters. I think the biggest thing is not using, being limited in the use of all caps. That is just hard to read. We usually say at least 24-point font. And those recommended fonts there are just a suggestion. Again, depending on your branding guidelines and what you have, you can default to those as well. While AONL doesn't endorse these organizations for producing your poster, we have received great recommendations from past poster presenters on a couple sites, and it looks like I'm missing an R on that. So I'll update it, but it's posternerd.com and posterpresentations.com, where you can upload and print and do all the things that you need for your poster on the size and how it should be finished, the lamination, etc. So I would explore looking at those, or you may have one of your own, but those are two that have come recommended from past poster presenters. And if you have any other sites that you'd like to share in the chat with your colleagues, please feel free to throw those in the chat. Again, those are just recommendations. So the conference is March 30th till April 2nd. Sunday, March 30th is where we have all of our pre-conference sessions and a networking happy hour, regional happy hour that evening. We are hoping that posters can be just set up at some point that day by 6 p.m. If you come in later on Sunday, not to worry, you will be able to set it up the next morning. So, but those are the hours we have there. If you're coming in later, like I said, you'll have access. Posters are on display for attendees to view on March 31st, Tuesday, and Monday, March 31st, and Tuesday, April 1st, from 9:30 to 1:30. Those are the exhibit hall hours. Now, the only required times you're there to present is on that first day the hall is open on Monday from 11:30 to 12:30. We'll have in the hall, there's lots of activations happening, lots of things to do. We've received feedback from our presenters that having it open the whole time is great. Having you staff it the whole time is hard. Obviously, that's a long time to be standing there, and having you do it both days while the hall is open really limits you on what you can do at the conference and what you can enjoy, and if you can eat lunch and you can do all the things. So we've modified the hours this year so that on Monday you'll be in the exhibit hall. Tuesday, the poster is still up. You're welcome to staff it if you'd like during the times that you're available, whether it's you or a co-presenter or all of you, however you see fit, but you're not required to be there. And then again, on Wednesday, April 2nd, all of the posters are going to be moved from the exhibit hall because the exhibit hall closes, and into a big ballroom space where you'll have more dedicated time with attendees for them to see your poster, interact with you, because you'll be there at those poster hours to address any questions live. So, when you're setting up your poster, it's really helpful because you might not be there all the time, and you won't be there all the time, to include a QR code on your poster that might lead people to more information. Make sure your contact information is on your poster. Amy had a display of a mock one that kind of listed those key features, but it's just something to keep in mind, whether you're leaving business cards on the table. People will take photos, and people love QR codes. So if you have something where they can go get more information or something to contact you, you can create your own QR code. There are free sites to do that. QR code generator .com, I think, is one, but if you Google like free QR code, you could do that and download it and add it to the poster. The only thing I'd recommend is some for the free sites are only available for like 30 days. So just keep that in mind, that it is not enduring if you don't have an account. But I'm not familiar with all of the accounts out there, but it's just something to consider. If business cards work better for you, that's fine too. Or as long as your contact info is on the slide, they can always take a picture and follow up. So some important dates coming up. our early bird registration ends on February 21st. You as a speaker receive a $225 discount. Tony is going to put that discount code in the chat in case you haven't seen it yet. It is. And so if you have already registered, you can let us know and we can apply the refund or apply the discount and refund you. If you haven't yet, please make sure to do that to maximize your savings by the 21st. Then shortly after that, we have our hotel discount. And so if you want to, we really encourage you to get in the block, the AONL discounted block. So make sure you make your hotel reservations as soon as you register. The date to upload your final poster as a PDF file is March 17th. That file will be used in our on-demand platform that all attendees at the conference will have access to. So a PDF version of your poster, and it'll be in the mobile app as well. At March 17th is also the time for you to make sure your profile, your speaker profile, is updated. I'm going to get to that in a second on my next slide and showing you where you get to go and do that. Once you get to the conference, we are going to remind you, and don't worry, we'll remind you more than just today, of checking into the speaker ready room, letting us know that you are there. It is a big convention center, and so we will have a main hub for all speakers, posters, and every type of presenter we have. So we'll have a checklist for you to sign in, and they'll be there to answer questions, direct you to where you need to go. And so again, more details to come as we get closer, but just expect that you will need to just check in so we know that you're there. And we'll also be making laps around the exhibit hall to see what posters are yet to hang up. So the Speaker Resource Center will be debuted and shared with you after this orientation today. Well, you're going to receive a link and able to log in as a presenter. And in there, you'll have access to seeing things like your profile, your session title, as well as all of the font recommendations, those websites I referenced. We also listed some posters from previous shows that the presenters have allowed us to share that follow those guidelines that we recommended, having the column format, good use of font colors, a QR code if available, and also the use of the AONL conference logo. When people do take pictures of it, and we are encouraging, like we do for all of our, we don't have a branded template for you to use for your poster, but we do recommend and encourage you to use the AONL logo on the bottom or wherever it makes sense within your design. If it's something you could do, great. It will be in the Speaker Resource Center for you to download and add to your presentation. We're just so excited that you're presenting and offer our sincere congratulations on being selected among the 1,000 of submissions that we got this year. And with that, part of the Resource Center will include an asset for you to share on LinkedIn and let others know, be proud and share that you're presenting at AONL and posting an image and a link to the website. It helps us. It really is cool for your network to see, and we're proud of you and want to be able to give you a way to celebrate that. So some key takeaways: design an engaging poster using some of the tips that we gave. Keep practicing. You know your material. You are the expert. Be yourself. It is a conversation. That's what these are for. Posters are really a highly valuable component of the conference. People love looking at them with the presenters, without them there. So your work is getting disseminated to so many. And whether it's in a one-on-one conversation, a group conversation, the posters are just your time and attention to creating an engaging poster, and your practice on delivering, keeping the key points elevated so you can go in and have a conversation with someone. It's really important to practice. Know your material so you can be looking at your audience as you're seeing people come by, and that you're not like staring at the poster the whole time. And lastly, share with others that you'll be at AONL 2025. We're really excited for Boston, and can't wait to welcome you. So we listed some references that we will include. this is our contact information for Amy and myself. I don't know, I inadvertently left Tony off of here, but Tony Latino, who I introduced at the beginning of the call, is on the session, and she manages the AONL conference inbox and is a great resource for you as an attendee, as a speaker, and we're all here to support you. So Tony is on. I don't know if Tony, if you want to say anything, just say your name so people see you.
Congratulations. Excited to see everyone and their posters at the conference in Boston.
Thanks. So we have an evaluation for this. This is the first time we're offering contact hours for this presentation, 0.5 contact hours. If you're interested, or two things. One, if you're interested in claiming those contact hours, there's an evaluation you need to complete. Two, we'd love for you to complete the evaluation regardless of that, because we're seeking feedback from you on how to improve these sessions and be able to update resources with you between now and then. So we're not waiting till next year to update the presenter. So please take the evaluation, leave your comments. We'll be going through them and can follow up with any resources that may be helpful to all of you. But that said, I can open it up for questions.
Just briefly in the chat, I don't know if we covered it, but I missed a few. So it says, please advise who we should notify if we've already registered. So because of the discount code.
Yep.
So
Tony will be able to take care of you. Tony, why don't you put your email in the chat, please? Or the conference email in the chat, and we will be able to apply that discount code for you.
Yeah, just go ahead and email the conference inbox.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
I know we don't have a poster rubric available to follow, but we have the guidelines as far as font recommendations. Amy, I don't know if you have anything to add. I have some sample posters that I can show you for like good visual ideas. Or if any colleagues on the call want to share, you're welcome to add that to the chat, or chime in out loud as well.
I don't have anything to add about that. Beth, I don't know if you wouldn't mind, Beth Keating, if you wouldn't mind elaborating a little bit on what you were.
No, that, yeah, hopefully you guys can hear me okay.
Yeah.
I know you'd mentioned just examples of posters. That would be helpful. I might just take a screenshot. I know other conferences have had some version of a rubric, and it's not necessary. I just want to make sure that we're going to be making a good quality poster in accordance with your requirements. So that's all.
Sure, absolutely. Well, it's a great idea too. And as I was mentioning, this is my first time doing the conference, and Courtney and Tony and I are always willing to learn. So if that's something that's been helpful in other organizations, feel free to send us an example if you have one. It could be something
I can send you one. Some of our sort of more local state-based sort of nursing leadership organizations have them, so I can send one to you guys. Is that this email that you would put in here, the one that we should refer to? Okay.
Thank you. That's really helpful.
Yeah, thanks.
So with the building on the rubric question, then I'll hit the logo ones. We don't have any awards associated with posters.
Right.
Any sort of like best poster or anything like that. That's not something. The logo, we have our updated 2025 logo. It'll be in the Speaker Resource Center for you to download and add to your poster wherever it makes the most sense. If it's something that you can't use, or it doesn't flow with, if something's already produced, if it's something that you've presented on at other events or nursing organizations, we understand that, but I will have it in the Speaker Resource Center. You can use the your own organization logo. Sorry, I'm doing like 4 things at once. My bad. You can use your own organization logo in the on your poster. Yes.
And then
Um,
Courtney, do you see the last chat?
Yep,
Looks like
I
maybe
will
we
add
could
the
just put the
evaluation
forms link.
link.
Yeah.
We'll probably we'll follow up. I'm trying to see if I can get to that without like messing up my whole screen thing. But I will make sure you guys have access to the evaluation in our follow-up communication. Yes, fabric posters are something we are seeing more and more of. And I don't necessarily have any recommendations there, but maybe Trish has something to add.
Yeah. Hey guys. So I love a fabric poster just because it travels so well. And then like where do you store it after? So I put Poster Smith in the chat. I've used them probably 4 or 5 times. And the thing I love about them is there's been at least twice where one, the picture would have come out blurry once it was blown up to the correct size. And so they helped me with like formatting and either choosing another photo. And then also I had like text going over text that I just didn't see, and they caught that as well. So they communicate really well with you. So I put their link in the chat. I don't work for them. I don't know how I stumbled upon them, but I really do advocate for them because it's also like free 2-day shipping. And so it's pretty quick. And then for poster tips, because we do in my role at work, I help nurses a lot of the poster formatting. I would say if you're going to have a graph, build it in PowerPoint. Don't like build it in Excel and then take a snip or a screenshot of it because it doesn't blow up quite right. It blows up better if you build it within PowerPoint. And then also before you send it to the printer, if you PDF it and go to like 100% on the PDF, that's what it's going to look like when it's blown up. And then maybe my first tip would be size the poster before you start working on it. So I saw your recommendation, I think was like 42 by 60. I wrote it down somewhere.
Yes.
So when you go into PowerPoint, yeah, size it first, or else you're going to turn into like a sizing nightmare, which is going to take you a few hours to correct once you try to blow it up. So those are some things that I have found. And Smart Art is also very helpful. Smart Art, using Smart Art throughout has also been a pretty good thing that I found to be helpful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We will, this recording will be available for everyone. And we can update some of our resources to include some of those recommendations as well. Trish, thank you so much for adding that. I think if there is something I missed, I'm not. Thank you guys for all the comments in the chat. I think we covered everything. We are available to you and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have in the coming weeks. You'll get an email that will include all of this information, our contact information. So you can follow up with us later. I think we have a question from Donna.
Yes, I did have a quick question before we close out. You were talking about copyright content and things like that. I was just going to ask for like diagrams and things like that that you add to your poster. If you have it referenced correctly, is that okay? Is that messing with any copyright infringement?
I think as long as it's cited and you have permission to use it. I think the big thing is permission. So depending on what it is,
Yep. I'm happy to look at with it specifically. After this, I'll put my email in the chat for everybody as well, because there are some different things. It depends. Like if it's a diagram from a published work, for example, then you likely need to seek permission if it's something you've created, clearly not. Citing, if you're going to pull the image out and use it by itself, is insufficient if it comes from a material that's copyrighted.
yeah, any questions?
So that was a lesson learned for me many years ago. So we were not even that long ago. So thank you for asking.
Yeah, if you have any doubts, just let us feel free to let us know.
Yeah, I don't have a problem getting permission because the national expert that helped me with the project as far, I've already gotten her permission for some other things, so it won't be hard to get permission. I just thought
Perfect.
possibly if you
Yeah,
cite
thank
it,
you.
it would be okay. So where do we put the information that we've received permission?
I would do a couple of if you have room on a real small font underneath the image, used with permission, what, and all of the guidelines on that, you could do that. You could also do a separate QR code for permissions if there's multiple and you don't want to take up the room on that. And then you could just have that available for people to reference.
Perfect, thank you.
Sure. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you all again for being here. Thank you for your contributions to nursing leadership science and for all that you do in your daily work lives. And we look forward to hearing from you if you have any questions. Thanks, Courtney and Tony, for all the follow-ups and making sure everybody gets what they need. And we will see you in Boston.
Yes, see you in Boston. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.